I thought he was a chick. I'm gonna be for real. I thought he was a chick, and then I found out he was a guy, and that attracted me to him more, which I don't know how I feel about. Huh. We were gonna watch a debate between PollyPeople and Keffals, okay? Oh snap, Donnie, no! We're gonna watch this debate because they debated whether Finster, the well-known drag queen streamer, person dressed up as drag, if they're transphobic for dressing up in drag on stream. I think no. I think it's fine. I think drag has been a part of like queer art for a very long time. I don't even think you need to necessarily be queer to enjoy or participate in drag. I have no problem with it. My camera just went out. The FSB is hunting me. I must flee. No, actually my camera just turned off because my camera's garbage. When Ukraine wins, would Dark Brandon have a statue of him in Kiev? Could you imagine a Biden statue in Ukraine? You know, that's not, you know, it sounds crazy to say out loud, right? Like a Biden statue in Ukraine. It feels like the last thing those people would care about after they win the war. But I'm pretty sure there's like a Bill Clinton statue Albania. Is that true? Yes. There's Hillary Clinton and there's Bill. There's Bill. I think there's Hillary. Yep, they really like the Clintons in Albania because of the Yugoslav intervention. Anyway, so I was gonna watch this debate because I was told that the debate didn't go, well, extremely productive. Zelensky should sell pianos. I understand that reference. Yes, connection with chat. Anyway, let's watch the debate. Should be easy content. Let's see how Keffals does.
I mean, trans people do not own the word trap. That's not true.
Well, right, but like, you know, like white people don't own the N-word, but that doesn't.
What the fuck does that have to do with what we're talking about?
I don't. Do I really will? Okay, this is gonna be rabid. It's gonna be one of the, that bodes well.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for reaching out to me. Let me get this open here. Okay, hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. I believe this is the first time we've chatted, and so, you know, thank you for considering chatting with me.
Oh, I figured you deserved at least a conversation on it. This topic seems to really upset you.
Oh, I would say that, well, okay, here's the most upsetting thing about it is not necessarily the topic itself. Well, you know, the topic itself is upsetting enough. It's the sort of the well poisoning, the sort of, you know, straw manning and dismissing of the very real critiques, I think, of Finn's content that have made it difficult. Like, you know, I've sort of resigned myself to people sort of responding to me saying, "You're just jealous, Polly," or you're or now you're trying to control what people wear. You're basically a TERF. So, you know, like that's been, you know, and it's come from trans people. And I know, I have to guess that that's been the results of some of the, you know, not just you, but other content creators sort of not taking the critique seriously and being dismissive of them.
So what's the critique, in your opinion?
Well, yeah, okay. So if I could sort of briefly describe it, when you create content and you lean heavily into tropes such as like, I'm a trap, you know, like if you've built your entire existence on the, hey, I'm actually a man, lol, but I look just like a woman, and I've, you know, you're gay because you like me, or I've fooled you, and
I personally, I think it's fine. I think it's just like a funny joke. Like I mean, like the idea behind a trap is the idea that you dressed up like a woman in order to trap a man, right? Which isn't true of trans people, but I guess is more comedically true, like jokingly true. Now Finn, because Finn is not a trans person, they're a man dressing up like a woman, and they really look like a woman. Like I mean, they could pass for a woman easy. Like if you look up Finster streamer, like it, like it's not even like debatable. Like they really look like a woman. I don't really see any harm in those types of jokes.
And your entire presentation is, you know, on the surface, completely indistinguishable from a trans woman's experience. I mean, I thought he was a trans woman. That's why I sort of let it slide, right? Because, you know,
I feel like if you did, okay, why would I hold on? Like,
well,
like already you haven't done even the most.
Hear me out.
I am, but like me.
This is not gonna go well. This is not gonna go well. This is gonna be a shit show. It's, man. When I talk to poly people, I felt like I was riding a very tightrope because I didn't want it to blow up. I tried to be as good faith and as charitable as I could in the conversation I had with her, but it did feel like I was running walking a tightrope, and I can already tell from Keffals' tone here, she is not interested at all at walking a tightrope. Also, I just realized I haven't chilled all stream, so I should probably do that since we're on the later half of the stream now. If you want to support my channel as I'm preparing to go back to Ukraine to film with IED crews and others, I'd appreciate if you guys went to my website, DylanBurns.tv, that's DYLANBURNS.tv, donated, subbed. All the money goes to me and my staff. None of it goes to Jeff Bezos. If you go to my website and do it, that's DylanBurns.tv, DYLANBURNS.tv. Go to the site. You can also go on the site chat, which is super cool because you get new emotes, new moving emotes, and you have your name on screen and not just in the disgusting gutter chat, also known as Twitch chat. I will take Twitch subs. I still appreciate them. Definitely if it got primers, right, which doesn't cost you a dime. Any donations, any subs, greatly appreciated. Haven't shilled all stream, and my editor tells me I need to shill more. So there you go. Now my editor can't yell at me. Appreciate any donos or subs you give this way.
Immediately, you're already saying you weren't even familiar with who Finn was or Finn's content before jumping to that conclusion.
Well, no, because I've familiarized myself with it. Like I'm not just popping off here. What I'm trying to describe to you is I can understand why people might not quite pick up what I'm putting down here because you sort of look at the content at first glance. You're like, this is just a trans woman being trans, right? Being edgy. But when you look deeper into it and you become more familiar with his history, his entire platform is built off of transphobic shit. And so that is, corrupt, you could tell me
How is Finn's entire platform built on transphobia?
Well, his entire thing is trap content, like fooling people into saying, look, you're gay for liking me. I'm actually a woman, lol. I fooled you, sort of stuff. Like, how does the trans community not take strays from that? And
Have they taken strays from it? How has Finster actively worsened trans people's experience? I don't understand. I don't know who the victim is. This feels like a victimless crime, right? I don't understand what he's doing wrong. When he says, haha, I'm actually a guy, you're gay. This feels like a funny joke. I mean, maybe I'm pulling oh, I'm a comedian before Me Too, and I love offensive media. I don't know, I'm Velma from the new HBO Max show. But I don't see who's the victim of that joke. Because the butt of the joke isn't, haha, you thought I was a trans. That doesn't feel like the butt of the joke. The butt of the joke is, haha, you thought I was a woman, actually a man, Lamau. Not, haha, you thought I was a woman, I'm actually a man, because trans people aren't real. There's no thing as trans mental disorder. Fuck you. I'm actually, I'm fucking with you. That doesn't seem like the joke, right? Which would actually be wrong. The joke seems like, haha, got you, Lamau, thought it was a woman. That's what it feels like the joke is to me. I don't see how, I kind of see the vague connection, but I just don't see the, victimless crime is what I feel like. I am B Mike. Thank you so much for the tier 1 beats up for 10 months. I want Daddy Bezos to get a cut. He needs the money. Well, you know what? I appreciate the charity. I do appreciate the charity for Jeff. He's fallen on rough times since the divorce. Hope he's doing well.
How is it okay for him to lean into those kind of tropes when he doesn't pay the price for it?
I mean, objectively, as someone who identifies as a cis man, if a straight man
Also, can I say, when we say he doesn't pay the price for it, I find it hard to believe that Finster doesn't get a ton of sexual comments. I find it hard to believe that Finster doesn't get a bunch of, you fucking F-slur piece of shit. Like, I find it hard to believe he doesn't get that either. I think this idea that Finster's like, you know, he doesn't pay any repercussions for this type of content. I think he does, probably. I would find it very hard to believe that he doesn't, considering how heteronormative our dress standards and how you're supposed to look are in our society. I would assume he'd still get that, even if it's not specifically like living the experience of a trans person, which he never claimed to be.
thinks that they're attracted to Finn, they're gay.
Do you understand that just saying it like that in such a bald sort of way in isolation, don't you see that why that enables transphobes to say that we're like not real, or that we're actually traps?
I don't see it.
No, like I feel like they're gonna do this regardless. Because Finn is a man. Okay. Finn's always identified as a man.
Okay, but like transphobes don't care about that, and people who are not who are not well, I guess, you know, super in tune with trans issues are not going to think there's a dime's worth of difference between Finn.
Dylan, how many sexual comments do you get? Please tell me I'm not the only poster. Well, at least a few a week. And when I say a few a week, I mean like the ones that make me uncomfortable. Every once in a while, it's like, hey, Dylan, you have lovely hair. And I'm like, oh, thank you. But some of it's like, nice fat fucking ass, Dylan. I would like to grab it, or like, oh, you did, like really dirty like stuff. It's like, I didn't ask for that. No, my camera just went out. My camera was disgusted by my comments. Somebody even got my phone number and started texting my phone number sexual comments while I was streaming. Like some really like uncomfortable, like stalkery stuff. Not saying I have a stalker, but just saying like that's pretty gross behavior. I think basically every streamer probably has to deal with it to some degree once you reach a certain size, because like people are attracted to all types of bodies, and I guess some people are attracted to mine in a way that I do not reciprocate. It'd be one thing if like if it was like, I don't know, like you messaged me and then we like developed like a relation. I'm not saying you should do this, by the way, but it would be one thing if it was like a month down the line and you're like, that's actually, you got da, 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 and they started flirting. But it's not even like that. I'm not encouraging the behavior, by the way. It's just straight up like, nice ass, fuck you, I'm gonna rail you like a whore. It's like out of nowhere, and it's really makes me really feel uncomfortable. But I also feel weird complaining about it, because like I'm a guy, and like you're supposed to just kind of ignore it, I guess, and it's not taken as seriously when you're a guy, and so you just kind of like roll with the punches. And it's like, what me complaining about is gonna do what? Is it gonna stop the comments? Probably not. So, you know, it is what it is. Not, by the way, if you are a guy, that does not mean you should put up with it. That's just how society treats it.
In saying, haha, I fooled you. Look, you know, I'm just a man who looks every bit as much as a woman, and some other actually trans content creator that does the same thing, or would do the same thing, except the harm that comes from that falls solely on the trans community, or largely unfairly on the trans community, which is a much more marginalized community.
I don't see the harm, though. I sort of see the connection Polly is trying to make here. The harm has still yet to be communicated to me. I still don't see it.
I really do not understand how you're coming to the conclusion that Finn increases the amount of transphobia in the world. So if you lean into any trope, like if you lean into sort of, I mean, I hate to like use this as a crude example, but if you make sort of racist jokes that are obviously racist in a way to sort of straw man like race racism, you're going to have racial minorities taking strays and being harmed by that. Like the furthering of tropes, like are you saying I need to prove to you that the furthering of transphobic tropes hurts the trans community? Like that's not a given to you?
I don't really see this as furthering a transphobic trope. I think a trap doesn't need to necessarily be trans. If we're talking about trap in the word, like the actual idea that you dress up as the other sex, the other gender, in order to trap somebody, which is the joke. You do not need to be trans to do that. There have been a million different jokes about like male characters in film, men, identify as men, dressing up as women to like break into like a safe or I'm a big fan of Lupin. I've been watching a lot of Lupin the Third recently. Oh my God, it's so good. But if there was like an episode where Lupin dressed up as a woman in order to sneak in and crack a safe, like, is that furthering transphobic tropes? Or is that just like an innocent joke where he dresses up as a woman in order to, like, I don't know, get past security? I don't think that furthers transphobic tropes. As long as the butt of the joke isn't haha trans people and it's haha gender bending, you know? Haha, gotcha, you know?
So would you equally take offense when trans women who are doing sex work play into these tropes on incredibly large platforms because they know that it sells?
Finn is not trans. Finn is cis.
Okay,
trans
so you're saying that when
are
Well, actually, I think Keffals has a point here. If this is true, wouldn't this also mean that even if Finn was trans, that this would still be wrong because it was playing in the transphobic tropes? Like, if, by the way, not ceding that, but even if Finn was trans, which, you know, Polly said that she didn't have a problem with them until she found out that he wasn't trans. Wouldn't it still apply when it comes to the furthering of transphobic tropes?
Trans women are doing that, and they are doing it, one, because they have to. They live in a transphobic society. They're doing the best they can. And it's, you know, to say those two things are the same blows my mind.
What? Okay, somebody just saying. Somebody in chat just brought this up. Doesn't most femboys identify as men but dress as women? I know a lot of femboys. I know a lot of femboys because I'm really into femboys, if I'm being completely blunt, right? And in my experience, like, I've met femboys that like, if they said, "Yeah, I'm a woman," like, you would believe it immediately. Like, not even like people walk down past them on the street and say, "Hello, ma'am," "Hello, girl," because they're just very, very good at like bending the gender and like all that stuff, looking feminine. If there was just like a femboy streamer, which I guess like to an extent Finster is that transphobic? If they lean into it a little bit, like, "Hi, I thought I was a girl, I'm actually a guy." It doesn't feel transphobic. It just feels like an innocent joke. It feels like we're kind of like putting Finn on the cross here for, you know, I don't know, being hot. I'm sorry, it feels a little bit like that.
No, because if you're making this argument,
are you gonna pretend like there's not a difference between those two things?
No, but I feel like if you're making this argument, it would actually be more harmful for trans people to do it because they're more representative of the trans community than Finn ever will be or is.
The average person who's gonna be willing to go along with transphobic tropes are transphobic people. Are you kidding me? So, like, it doesn't matter to the average transphobe whether Finn's doing or an actual trans woman are doing it. It's not a dime's worth of difference. But one person doing it receives none of the fucking fallout from furthering transphobic tropes, and the other person is doing it because they have to and faces all of the fallout anyway. The fact that you are making this argument shows me why you're not really thinking about this hard enough, and why I'm actually kind of disappointed in how you've engaged with this topic in its entirety.
Ooh, you're not thinking hard enough, Keffals. Get your fucking brain in order, dumbass. That's the unfiltered version of what Polly just said.
I thought you would at least be somewhat charitable to the obvious position here that, like, Finn doing something transphobic essentially is not the same.
Because I don't think that Finn is doing anything transphobic.
Also, can I just say, it's kind of weird to say you're disappointed in someone if you've never even, like, met the person until this point. That's, like, disappointed in what? You didn't even know Keffals. Like, I don't know.
Okay, well,
I'm not convinced.
Would you deny that he's furthering transphobic tropes?
No, I actually think that Finn is doing good at presenting a role model for gender nonconforming men and is making the world a less transphobic place with their platform.
Okay, so then if you don't think somebody saying haha I'm a trap, if your position is as a fucking cis man that the strays that are obviously going to be taken by the trans community, he's entitled to do that for whatever reason you're coming up with, and I don't,
because it's
I
just
can
like
see why people are unreachable on this.
This argument just opens you up to such weird positions. That's the problem. Like, if you're gonna make this exact argument, then why aren't you going after drag queens? It's like, oh, so you think being a woman is a performance? You think you can just like dress up like a woman and do a show and dance? No, that's offensive
Drag
to
queens
trans people.
don't say I'm a trap. Like
what are you talking about? I have seen so many drag queens say I'm a trap.
Okay, but they're not like looking. The drag queen argument is so stupid because drag queens like go out of their way to not even look like cis women. They're like caricatures, for fuck's sake. It is an artistic endeavor. What Finn's doing is essentially saying I'm a trap, and
I mean, it depends. Like, the majority of drag queens are like that, but there are drag queens who work on becoming the most beautiful like interpretations of a woman as possible artistically. I mean, like in Japanese kabuki theater, I would say, and if definitely looks like drag, I mean, it feels like it has all the characteristics of drag. Those male artists do everything possible to like look as feminine and mimic the motions of women in every way possible. Like I don't know. I think you can dress as a woman seriously and still be engaging in drag or gender nonconformity, or like either I think that's fine, even if it isn't technically drag, which I think it could still fall under the label of. Definitely when it's like a stream.
Winking and nodding and looking exactly like a trans woman, but saying I'm not.
What do you mean by looking at?
What is winking and nodding and looking? One second, let me just let it keep playing. I think Keffals was about to ask.
Winking and nodding and looking exactly like a trans woman, but saying I'm not.
What do you mean by looking exactly like a trans woman? What does a trans woman look like exactly to you?
Well, okay. So I should say a transphobic caricature of a trans woman is somebody that says, "Ha, I trapped you. You know, you're gay now," and is clearly like doing it to appeal to transphobic sensibilities. And
I don't think that. One second, let me listen to what she said again.
Well, okay. So I should say a transphobic caricature of a trans woman is somebody that says, "Ha, I trapped you. You know, you're gay now," and is clearly like doing it to appeal to transphobic sensibilities.
I don't see it this clearly as being used to appeal to transphobic sensibilities. Finster has been, I think, very clear about their support of trans people. I have no reason to believe that like this is coming from transphobic sensibilities or an attempt to appeal to transphobic sensibilities.
And what makes it problematic is because he is not trans and he doesn't suffer
the reason why it's funny is that it's funny to have somebody who isn't gay say that they're attracted to a man and to be like, haha, they're like, oh, I thought it would, oh. If anything, unironically, I don't think this is the case either. It'd be easier to make the argument that Finster is homophobic. They're not, but I think that would actually be an easier argument to make. I still think it's wrong than this argument.
consequences of those actions. Like, there's very good reason to critique his behavior on a fucking equitable sort of don't punch down sort of basis. Like, it seems relatively obvious to me that, like, if you are in a more privileged position, why is it acceptable for you to engage in behavior for clout and to grow your platform in ways that are obviously going to have fallout with people far more fucking far more marginalized than you and far more subject to those same sort of transphobic attacks without even, asking for it. People call me.
The thing is, she says, like, obviously it's gonna have fallout. No, you don't. It's not obvious because everyone disagrees with Polly. Like, if you look at the quote tweets on Polly's tweets about this issue, the vast majority of them are not saying, yep, I agree with Polly. They're saying, no, Polly, I disagree with you as a trans person here or as an LGBT activist. Keffals is debating Polly on this right now. So I don't think it's obvious that Finster is increasing the fallout for trans people across the world from this position of privilege and like they're gonna get off scot-free. Like I don't think that's something that's been proven. I don't think that's obvious.
A trap, and I don't even have to like, you know, do any trapperson type shit that he does.
Okay.
So he's making it easier for them to say, you're all traps anyway. You all look the same to me. This is an easy argument.
No, I don't think that. Like, I think that regardless if Finn does what?
Okay, I guess that's, you know, like, what do you, okay, all right, I guess you don't think that, but that's not a response to the
I was
critique.
about to
That's not a
formulate my
helpful-
response.
All right, go ahead.
Like, as I said, like, I think that
Dude, I can hear the drip right now. The drip of acid off the tongues of both of these people is like the tiniest veneer of like civility there, man. There's like it feels like when your mother or grandmother or like female like figure in your life is like smiling at you and is saying like, you're going to put your toys away, you're going to eat all of the applesauce that Mimo made for you. That's what it feels like right now. That just the tense, like at any moment, like a twig could snap, and like you're gonna have like bottles smashing on tables and stabbing and like all this stuff. The shanks are gonna come out. That's what it feels like.
transphobia is going to be a thing regardless of whether or not Finn does what they're doing, which has very little to do with the trans community. Like, Finn's made it very clear, I'm not a trans person, I am just a cross-dresser. Weirdly enough, one of your mods actually said Finn isn't gender.
Oh yeah, cross-dressing is like the easiest way to like. This is like, even if you don't think it's drag, this is very obviously cross-dressing. Yeah, not even a question.
Non-conforming, a cross-dresser, or a femboy. He isn't doing this because he likes to dress this way. He doesn't dress this way unless it's for work. It's like, why is it that your community is trying to police a gender non-conforming person's expression? Why is that okay?
Well, I could go back to what I just said. What's not okay is furthering transphobic tropes as an edgy way to grow your platform.
So wait. You're just going to completely ignore that it's like your community.
What are you talking about? Are you trying me to answer for what somebody said? I mean, fuck, do you want me to go through every dumb fuck? I mean, I don't even think that's a
it's
bad
your
point
mods.
necessarily.
You don't think it's a bad, you don't think it's a bad point. You think that it's like okay to...
You want me to answer for everything that everybody has said that you sort of said?
There it is. It took long enough. Took long enough for the shanks to come out. The treaty between gangs has ended. Okay, the Bloods and the Crips are at it again.
Get the fuck out of here! Why don't you just
wait? When did I say that? I never said that.
Why don't you engage with what I'm saying? Or I could explain to you why that statement on Twitter may actually have some merit, but it's going to have a more nuanced discussion. But we can't even get there when you are unable to accept that somebody who does transphobic tropes as a cis person has problematic content. Like, if we can't get there, then we're not even at stage one. Like you're just sort of making yourself completely unable to understand.
Is a gender non-conforming person cis? Like, where are we drawing the line on what cis is?
Finn is not a trans woman.
Yes.
Finn is not.
Cisgender, as far as I know, you're trans or you're cis, right? Like, that's as far as I was aware. Maybe maybe I failed my liberal cuckoldy libtard class. I don't know. But as far as I was aware, it's like you're trans or you're cis. That's like your options.
Not going to be harmed by the furtherance, or at least will be far less harmed than trans people by the furtherance of transphobic tropes.
Okay. Does that make...
That's the problem.
Okay, but does that make Finn cis? So like a non...
Okay, so I don't know why you're playing word games with me.
I'm not playing a word
Finn
game.
Is not a trans person.
I never said this.
Not okay. Then what are you talking about then?
I'm asking you to define what cis is, because you're trying to use Finn as cis as a way to dismiss Finn.
Yeah, but he says he's cis. He says he's cis, and he puts up on his, and the way he proves he's cis is he pins on his like.
As far as I'm aware, Finn is cis, and they've said they're cis.
Twitter or whatever. Here's my birth certificate, and I'm a man. Like one that has a two-prong effect. Is one, it says that I'm cis, but it also winks and nods to his trans audience. Look, I care about my assigned gender at birth just like you do.
Dylan Burns, prove you're cis. What can I do to prove I'm cis? What's something that I could do to prove that I'm cis? Oh, 1 second. 1 second. I can do it. This is a terrible video game. I didn't burst into flames, therefore I'm cis. That's the universal test.
Like, I mean, like, you can't, I mean, come on. Like, are we going to be stupid and let's just sort of like, let him have it both ways?
No, I'm not being
just
stupid.
Because he's a large content creator.
No, I'm not being stupid. Like, I think it's incredibly offensive.
I hate being dogpiled as much as the next person, right?
Right,
like,
but it's like, you're willing to, with your community and your mods, those are your mods who are just like, okay, I can police the behavior of gender nonconforming people. It's completely okay to do. And when I asked you about this, you just get angry and say, oh, you think I can police everything? You think that I can just control everything? But it's like, no, these are the people who moderate your community. You have a responsibility.
I gotta like, now that she says it like that, right, it reminds me, I need to like sit down and like get all the mods together, and we need to create like a clear set of rule books, because I'm gonna be honest, I see a lot of police brutality in the site chat and the Twitch chat sometimes, mostly Twitch chat, which I guess is more understandable, gutter chat and all, but like I need to like sit down and be like, okay, here's the rules and guidelines, here's what you can ban people for, and here's what you can't ban people for. I gotta, all the mods, possibly, I think it would be smart, Danabo, to do at some point. All the mods, yeah, Sepsin, just Sepsin, no one else. I've been calling for codification for a while. True. Back goes, thanks to 100 bits. Wrong test. Saying you hate New Vegas means you are an R word. I like New Vegas, but the fact that I could say it and not explode proves that I'm not trans. But yeah, we do need to do that. Stop over policing Twitch chat. I mean, if you saw Twitch chat, you know, and in the horrible type of down low behavior could engage in, I think you'd be a lot more understanding. All mods are bastards.
For that, they represent you.
Well, okay, but hold on a second. Like, the essential argument here is not changed, and that tweet is essentially in line with what I'm saying.
So you're saying that Finn is not a cross-dresser.
Could you let me finish? The essential problem, like
Finish. Sorry, I shouldn't have done that.
Whether or not he's a cross-dresser is saying he's not a cross-dresser, by the way. I assume the sentiment behind that is that what he's doing is essentially appealing to the transphobic sensibilities of the average person and furthering transphobic tropes for content. That's not what cross-dressers do. Cross-dressers dress in.
Really? Like, as far as if I was a cross-dresser, I'd be screwing with people left and right. Like, hey, you think I'm beautiful? And then like out of nowhere, I like turn on my like heavy, like deeper manly voice and be like, "What's up, dude?" Like, I'd be fucking with people left and right. I'd be having so much fun with that. I would assume that a lot of cross-dressers have probably done that. I doubt that Finn's the first. It just seems like a humorous point about cross-dressing.
Gender non-conforming ways and play with gender because they are expressing themselves. They are not trying to grow their platform at the expense of more marginalized people, right? Just to sort of say, Polly, you're trying to police people's presentation is incredibly bad faith. Like, well,
it's just two completely different arguments you're sort of smashing together.
Well, no, that's what you're doing. So how
am I doing that?
Well, you're having a difficult time trying to like explain why furthering transphobic tropes is not that bad, and the only thing you're saying is I disagree and you can't prove that. Which is wrong, and you should never force some.
No, what I think is like you're trying to say that no,
are somehow harmful to them.
Like what you're trying to do is pretend that trans people are somehow the arbiters of gender nonconformity when other people can express gender nonconformity however they like.
No, I mean, no, that's a straw man. Like, trans people are the most able to detect and are the most likely to fall victim to the furtherance of transphobic tropes that others use to further whatever interests they have.
No, it's just, you're not even.
Well, I mean, it is true that trans people would be the #1 victims of transphobic tropes. I just don't think that Polly has proven that Finster is advancing transphobic tropes to any significant, if any degree, or worsening the conditions of trans people. That's the hurdle I have yet to see Polly traverse.
Even responding to what I'm saying.
No. Well, I mean, you're trying to straw man me, and you're getting frustrated that I'm not falling for the straw man. I get that.
I don't even think you know what straw man means.
Burns is an
like I was also.
Dude, I can feel. I'm sorry. I can feel the rage off of Polly, and I feel like you could like power my city off of it right now. I can feel it, and it's something, man. We talk about all these like breakthroughs in fusion technology, man. We need to like unleash like the power of like Twitch internet rage, you know? I think that would be a lot more powerful. Jamie Twan, I appreciate the tier 1 beats up for 19 months. Oh my goodness. And you made it so a hype train closes. Only 20 seconds left. Who knows? Maybe we'll make it, maybe we won't. Odds are against us, but that hasn't stopped us in the past. Thank you so much for being with us for so long and spamming those beautiful NAFO blankie emotes. Thank you.
So in high school debate, it's fine.
Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure where to go with this because I feel like I might, I might be being owned in the marketplace of ideas by the high school debate lord here. But
what?
But like again, the fact remains that when members of the trans community have a valid criticism here about a non-trans content creator who has made their fucking entire platform from day one, essentially, doing transphobic type trap content and the like, saying, look, I think you are for your own interests furthering the very kind of tropes and very kind of beliefs that are harmful to people like me. Like, it is super disappointing that some of the larger trans content creators, which I hasten to add are much smaller than the trans quote unquote content creator who Finn is, are completely unwilling to hear that this critique. It's super disappointing. And instead, like, you're just straw manning me and saying something that a mod said completely out of the context of what that we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I mean, your community seems to really have an issue with gender nonconforming people. You can choose to do something like that or not.
That. No, hold on.
I have the receipt. I mean, I have the receipt right here.
Okay,
just like, here's your mod. Here's your mod saying this.
You're literally straw manning. They're like, one of your mods, Polly, says this, and I'm going to interpret this way, and I'm going to ignore everything you said.
I mean, you were in the same conversation. You could have told your mod not to do that. Jesus.
Okay, all right. So I need to answer for every straw man interpretation that you come up with about somebody.
How is that a straw man interpretation? That's one of your moderators.
You are just coming up with another way to silence criticism at this point. Like,
well, I mean, on one hand, I do not think Keffals needs to hold Polly accountable for every single thing that the mod does. My mods don't need to agree with me on everything I believe. If my mods disagree with me about another content creator, I'm not going to police that. If they start engaging in like behavior like harassment or saying like homophobic or transphobic or bigoted type stuff, then I'm going to step in and I'm going to be like, no, you're not allowed to do that. Definitely if you're representing my community in any way. But on the other hand, all Polly needs to say is, I disagree with that mod, and then it's done. So I mean, that's all Polly would need to do here at all to deal with this. That's all they would need to do. Just say, I disagree with the mod. Mod's allowed to have their own opinion. I'm allowed to have my own. Pretty simple.
Like, you're
silence criticism?
Polly, you're just jealous.
The majority of this conversation
community is terrible.
The majority of this conversation has been me asking you questions and you getting mad at me asking questions.
Well, again, I don't think that's an accurate representation of the discussion because your questions don't really follow from the discussion. You just, you know, like, so I ask again, do you think that I will say this in the most gentle, or I will ask this in the most gentle way that I can.
Is it the same thing about furthering transphobic tropes? Because when I asked about when trans people do the same thing, you say this is fine, but they have more to do with the trans community. They have a higher duty to represent the trans community. So it's weird that you're not holding your own community to the same standard.
Wait a second. Are you saying that that trans people have a higher obligation to like control their potential like furtherance of transphobic tropes than transphobes do that are not in the trans community?
Oh, okay. Well, first off, I assume she's not saying that Finster's a transphobe. It'd be a bold accusation. I'll assume she's not saying that. But I mean, you could say that it's like, I would say it's like equal. Like every person probably has some moral responsibility not to forward transphobic tropes. It's just that you would assume that like a trans person probably lives with those tropes affecting their daily life more, and they would probably on average have more knowledge about it and therefore not be able to claim ignorance when they advance them.
Well, okay, so when you say transphobes, are you talking about Finn? Because that's
I'm just trying to say, like, what you said is trans people have to behave themselves, essentially. And I'm like, wait a second, for what? Wait. Trans
yes, I think that when
behave themselves,
I mean,
and like somebody like Finn or whatever, or even a transphobic person can do whatever they want because they're not trans. Like
that's not the argument.
Disease.
That's not the argument.
Okay,
I'm saying that if you're a trans person and you have
let me know what is it. Go ahead.
If you're a trans person and you have a larger platform, you do have an obligation to some extent in order to make sure that you're doing a good enough job representing trans people as a whole. Because like a lot of people are going to see you, and that's going to be the first person they see that's trans.
But that's the essential argument, is the person who doesn't know anything is going to think, because they don't really understand the nuance in the way that you do, or a lot of people do, is that Finn is not actually trans representation. So when
Finn never tries to.
Hold on, let me finish for fuck's sake. Well, I didn't say this. I said, like, it's quite obvious, by the way, that the fact that you can't really conceive of the idea that the average person who comes across Finn's content being 100% clear that this is not sort of trans related, or at least trans tropey related content that leans heavily into fucking trap discourse, and instead saying, you much smaller trans creators need to mind your P's and Q's and don't say anything about Finn because he's not trans.
Why are you being so aggressive towards me? Like, I haven't raised my voice at you once and you're telling me to fuck off and you're yelling at me.
Are you going to answer my question or not?
So, from my conversation with Polly, I found that she very much does not take kindly to what she would see as tone policing. So I actually thought she was going to explode at that. But let's continue.
No, I'm just kind of speechless by like this aggression when I thought we could have a civil conversation about this.
Are you going to answer my question, or are you not going to answer my question?
Can you repeat the question?
Pressure's
like I was just kind of shocked ever since
pressure's on, Kev.
That.
All right, so it seems like what you're doing here is you're saying, hey, smaller trans content creators that are harmed by transphobic tropes, make sure you mind your P's and Q's. And Finn, who to the average dumb fuck looks quite a lot like a trans content creator or trans-esque content creator, you can do whatever you want, even if it harms the trans community. That's what it sounds like to me you're saying.
How does Finn look like a trans content creator?
To the average person who is just sort of clicking around. I thought he was a trans content creator until I sort of dug into the content. I was like, oh, I guess.
I thought he was a chick. I'm gonna be for real. I thought he was a chick, and then I found out he was a guy, and that attracted me to him more, which I don't know how I feel about.
guess he's not, but these are a lot of transphobic tropes that we would take strays from. Like, this seems to be a super easy argument. Like, I don't understand like the fucking resistance to recognizing the bad effects on people like you and me that a larger non-trans content creator, they're sort of leaning into trap-related content, like why that's a problem and is perfectly reasonable to call out.
The average effect that Finn has is overwhelmingly positive for the trans community. In fact, I've talked to a lot of the trans people in Finn's community.
Yeah, but that doesn't answer the question. Like, the critique can remain, right? You can do plenty of good. And I'm not even going to say there's no good that's done there. I'm just saying, like, it is a perfectly reasonable critique that Finn, as a non-trans content creator who, to the average person who's clicking around, it's not going to be obvious to, leaning into trap-related content is problematic. And he should not do that.
Still yet to see substantiated exactly what harm, okay, here is a good test, and I think this is a great test when you're talking about this creator hurts X community. When I hear this I think should be the most basic measure. How does that harm manifest itself in the real world? How can I go out and look and see that harm? If I was to say, go into Finn's community, his Discord channel, would there be a lot of transphobia there? Could I see people be like, I hate those fucking T-slurs, fucking whatever, you know? I watch Yellowstone. Like, I don't know, whatever they talk about. I love Yellowstone, so I shouldn't be saying that. But like, whatever they talk about in there, right? That would be an example of something you could use to show, hey, there's the manifestable harm. You can see he's created a community where this type of stuff is manifested. It's not being challenged. It's spreading. And then they take that and they move it to other, and then boom, manifested. You can look at it. What's Yellowstone? It's a TV show. Don't watch it. It's really just for me because I like cowboys and whatever. I don't think there's any way for us to see any harm manifested from Finn, because I don't think there's any harm. And I think that would have been a great question Keffals could have asked Polly. How does the harm Finn does, the supposed harm that Finn does, how does that manifest against trans people?
No, I just think it's a silly argument, really.
No?
Because it doesn't have to do with... Yeah, it is silly. You're being silly.
All right.
Because it doesn't have to do...
more transphobia, that's
because it's not transphobia. Finn's impact is overwhelmingly positive for both trans people and for cis men.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Yes.
Is calling a trans person a trap, is that transphobic?
Yeah, it is, but how? No.
Yes, but like, a trap is like somebody who dresses as a woman in order to make you think they're a woman when they're not. So a trans woman isn't, because they're just woman. Wouldn't Finn actually be a trap? Like, wouldn't Finn be the, like, actual dictionary definition of the word trap? Or am I wrong? I would assume that would be it, because, like, it's contextual. Yeah, it's contextual. If you used it against a trans person, then it could actually be even considered a slur, because you're basically telling them that they're not a real woman. And, like, but if you're saying that a man is dressing up as a woman and able to make people think they're a woman, that's literally a trap, right? Either way, like I don't think this applies. I don't think this is transphobic.
How's Finn doing that? Finn's not doing it.
Wait a second. You don't think he makes trap-related jokes?
Yeah,
and saying...
Well, isn't it... Okay. Wouldn't he be the actual real thing and not, like, somebody trying to pretend that trans people aren't women? Like, he would be doing the real thing, right? Like, haha, I got you. Like, not the thing people make up about trans people.
Yeah,
you
because...
don't think he does that?
Yeah, he does. But it's fine. He can do that. That's fine.
He can make transphobic jokes.
That's not a transphobic joke. That's not transphobic jokes. Traps don't own the word trap. I mean, trans people do not own the word trap. That's not true.
Well, right, but like, you know, like, white people don't own the N-word, but that doesn't...
What the fuck is...
I already heard it earlier, but it hurt just as much this time around. It hurt just as much this time around. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Wow. Wow. Wow, man, that was a real trap card. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Wow. Let's see where, bold move, Steve. Let's see where she goes with it.
Don't own the word trap. I mean, trans people do not own the word trap. That's not true.
Well, right, but like, you know, like white people don't own the N-word, but that doesn't.
What the fuck does that have to do with what we're talking about?
Well, the fact you can't see it, I think, sort of explains the disconnect.
Like
here.
what?
Like you can't use slurs or like wink and nod toward slurs.
I'm sorry. Okay. I'll let her finish, but like in my head I'm thinking like it's kind of hard to be like, oh, see, there's a real disconnect here after you compared trap to the N-word when referring to a cishet person. Okay, whatever. Okay. Whew, let's continue. Actually, is there cis? Are they cishet? Is Finster gay or is Finster gay? Is he? No? Oh, okay. Well, you know, you can't win them all.
Sort of explains the disconnect.
Like
here.
what?
Like you can't use slurs or like wink and nod toward slurs or like problematic tropes that are targeted at a marginalized community if you're not in the marginalized community and expect to not receive criticism for it at the very least.
Okay, so
how is this hard?
how is what hard?
Jesus.
Because
how is this hard?
people who aren't trans can totally use the word trap. Trap's not a transphobic slur. It can be used as one. If you're calling a trans person a trap, yeah.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. I was scared to say it. I felt like I thought I was about to get hashtag thrown into Twitter jail or something. But yeah, this is exactly it. Like this is what I was saying earlier. This is what I was thinking. Like if I wanted to, couldn't I become a trap if I really wanted to? I don't want to. But if I really wanted to, like, wouldn't that be because because if you use trap against a trans person, you're saying that they're not a woman, they're pretending to be one to trap people. That is being used as a slur. If you say that against somebody actually pretending to be a woman to like entertain people, whatever, like that is like you could probably at least more in line with the actual uses of the word at the very least.
That can be used as a slur.
All right, so like other slurs. So if transphobic slurs are used by a non-trans person in a way that is highly suggestive as to like, you know, the transphobic slur, but you know, they say I don't mean it, you know, like I don't mean it that way, then it's fine with you.
That was just gibberish. I don't even know what that meant. Like what? I think what she was trying to say that like, so if you use it in this special way, it's okay. And like with all words, yes. If you can find a context that's appropriate, yeah. It's just some words it's impossible. I don't think that's one of them if there is a real world manifestation in it of that word, which Finn falls pretty close to, if not under.
I feel like it depends on the context and who it's being said to.
Okay, so yeah, so like, let's say somebody makes trap-related jokes, and in a content creator setting, and in general, this person is not trans, but to the average transphobe, they're not going to know one way or the other. So the average transphobe is going to look at that and say, like, look, see, traps admit that they're trap. I knew it. And they'll come over here and, to my stream and assume I'm a trap too. I don't know why, Polly, you're saying you're not a trap because people like you or people, who are essentially you are fucking admit it, Polly. Why don't you admit you're out there trapping and trappy trappers and everybody?
Someone would need to show that manifesting in the real world, that because of Finster's existence, other trans creators were getting called that because Finster was like joking about it so much and confusing people as to the status of their gender expression. But as far as I'm aware, that has yet to manifest from Finster's actions. And so right now, what PollyPeople just laid out, which would be very sad, is just like a manifestation of fantasy. Not that that doesn't happen, but the fact that that happens because of Finster's cross-dressing. Like we have no evidence that to be the case. This is just all speculation at best.
So I think what would be a good solution to this is just more education around it, instead of trying to say that Finn is somehow harmful for doing something that doesn't really have to do with trans people. There's an entire community out there of gender nonconforming men who use the term trap and cross-dress, and honestly,
oh my god, this is a good comment from chat from Aquasto. It's one of the few good comments from Twitch chat, even though you should be at DYLANBORNS.TV. Type it in your search bar right now. Anyway, Aquastokes in Twitch chat. Finster gave me a big boner, and that caused me more gender dysphoria. That makes him transphobic. That's the best comment of the day. Appreciate that one.
So I'm happy for them.
Wait a second. You're happy? Wait. Hold on. You're happy that people further trap tropes?
I'm happy that we live in a year where
Becoming like tongue twisters, like could have trap, did a trap. It's just like, oh my god, it's becoming like a tongue twister. I don't know why it just feels like it now.
more men feel that they can do gender nonconforming behaviors and can cross-dress and talk about it publicly. I think that's a sign of progress.
You're talking about one man who, like,
no, I just said that there's an entire no, I'm not just talking about Finn here. You're talking about the specific. I'm talking about the general.
Okay, but you're talking about one man.
No, I'm talking about an entire community. Once again, this isn't about just Finn. My argument was about the entire community of gender nonconforming men that cross-dress, and they also use the term trap. Okay, well, I can't speak to every example of everybody using trap tropes, but I got to tell you, it should be suspect when somebody who is not going to be the target of the transphobic harm of the trap slur, which is a specific slur against trans women. It's a trans misogynistic.
Say the name Trappy Trapperson. I want to use that in the channel in some other capacity. I don't know how. Just that name just is a very funny name. Trappy Trapperson.
Sepson gave a causal spark a tier 1 subscription. We look out for each other in site chat.
Hey, that's true. Sepson manages my gated community with Danabo in site chat, where you take care of each other. We have private security over there. This is like the South African security system. We're only really safe if you got private
Belinda
cops.
Gave a causal spark a tier 1 subscription. No freedom for you. Get back in the hierarchy.
Wow, look! A Casual Spark got 2 tier 1 subs. They're doubled up on their subs. Look at that. They raced against each other. Sipson barely beat them. But you know what that means? No refunds! No, but of course, thank you. I appreciate the 2 tier 1 subs. Really. Thank you. For both of you.
Slur. So if you're not a
maybe like if I made like a fake alt-right documentary and like a comedy sketch, I don't know. I would have to think of it.
trans woman and you're using it, it's going to be suspect. I'm not saying you never could.
But you think gender nonconforming men aren't like disproportionately the target of violence? Like that, come on, Polly. Think about me
into next week.
You don't. Okay, so first of all, you don't know what the term strawman means. Second of all, there have been over 370 attacks on drag events in 2022. That's against gender nonconforming men that cross-dress. How the fuck does that have to do with trans people? We're all in the same fight, and you picking this fight is harmful for our entire community.
So Polly, shut up.
Snap.
Let Finn do all.
Oh snap! She turned the tables, and now she's saying Finn isn't the problem. You are. Dun dun dun. Like the whole. Oh my god. Damn. Going for the necks. Going for jugulars.
All the transphobic shit he wants.
I didn't say that, but if you want to take it that way, you can.
Yeah.
I mean, fair enough. Okay. Transphobic tropes, I guess, are terrific.
Is the point that F1NN's audience has chasers. And then they just aren't dissuaded of their views because F1NN isn't a trans woman that would be better equipped to do so?
The situation, I guess.
All right. Well, I appreciate the chat.
Yeah.
I don't feel like she does. I don't feel like anybody does.
Likewise.
I'm being for real.
All right.
Doesn't sound like it.
Have a nice one.
You too.
Damn, man. Damn, there was some vicious shit there. Oh my goodness. Well, I want to give out a shout out to Trappy McTrapperson, favorite content creator on Twitch. Trappy.